All right, so today we're talking about the hook. We have worked our way to the bottom of the resume, and surprisingly enough, it has some elements very like the beginning of the resume. Just like a good book, people who are checking out books check out the front cover flap and the back cover flap, back when they used to hold books in their hand. So similarly, when they have a resume, they're going to be scanning like we've taught you. And part of that scan includes the top scan for an objective statement or a summary or a career summary, something like that. And as you know, they're looking for that emotional connection, that where we placed our order at the beginning. And at the end now, we're going to make a little more personal connection so they have that connection, that piece at the end where they can actually get curious. We want to create some curiosity and create a hook that might bring us into an interview where we otherwise would not have been noticed. Okay, dreams. Dreams are an excellent place to create a hook. So yours is a ranch. Tell me a little bit about a ranch.
Okay, so my dream is to live on a ranch, and as part of that dream is to create an experience for families where they can come to the ranch and we can do some family type training or some skill building, and then they can also enjoy the activities on the ranch and get to feel the delight that I get out of living in that lifestyle.
Super cool. And I also heard, or I read in there something about a fly-in option. So like me as a pilot could actually fly in, bring my family, or just bring my wife, and we could experience this ranch by landing in your ranch field, between the corrals or what.
Yep, as a part of that, I think it would be super neat to be rural enough that we can have our own grass runway and people can do, direct fly in and either just stay with us and enjoy the ranch activities, or they can fly in with their families for the skills trainings.
Oh, that sounds so cool. Okay, so I'm obviously your target audience, and I'm gonna want to know more. So here's how I would, I would, I'm gonna want to know paragraphs. Just tease me enough with a short enough description in your dream that it's gonna just compel me to call you up, make an interview so that we can talk about this. But the ranch experience is something that you want to tease them with. So I'm thinking, make an emotional connection. Don't give them all the details, but spike their, just get their curiosity piqued so that they'll want to ask you more. And that would be the last sentence on your resume. Been noticed. All right, so Danielle has done some work. She's started to put together some what we've called the other activities. If you know what you've got, we'll use that as kind of an outline and read through it and format it and see what we can do to improve it.
There we go.
So it looks like here you've done some brainstorming. This would be too long as is, so we'll refine this a little bit. But this is exactly the right thing to go about doing, is creating a list. And how many have we got here, Danielle? 6? We could probably
Yep.
add a few more if we wished.
Yeah.
So how did you go about creating this list?
Well, I just kind of followed the headline there, the activities, interests, hobbies, dreams. And then I also referred to some of the things that I've done in the past that relate to my degree and my desired um, area of work in the future and employment to
Uh-huh.
kind of connect that. So that's where I came up with some of those things.
And do all of them relate somehow back professionally? Is that necessary? A requirement?
Well, I don't think so.
No. Dreams can be anything, right? I
Right.
I remember someone saying I want to swim with dolphins in Ecuador one time, and I was like, obviously that doesn't have to do with anything, but what a cool dream. It's cool that someone has that passion, and they're working towards something. That in and of itself says that you've got someone who's awake and alert to the fact that they're a human being and they can live like that. Okay, so share with yours a little what you've got there.
Okay. So I'll just kind of go through the bullets then. I something that I've done in the recent past that I really enjoyed was I conducted a 9-week course where I taught a class on strengthening the family. I really enjoy working with my hands and creating with my hands, so I've included that one of my favorite hobbies and kind of side businesses is making soap. Then I've also volunteered through my church with youth from babies all the way to the 18-year-olds. So I've included that, included helping develop curriculum, and then I've included a dream that I have. And then I'm also applying for another credential following graduation, which I thought could be an interesting add-on.
Excellent. Good. All right. So obviously we need to trim this down a little bit. So let's take a look at how we can do that. I think moving that last piece back up into your additional certificates, you can express that intention there. And that would be an appropriate place for that as well. Education, that first bullet point of conducting a 9-week course on strengthening the family could also perhaps go up during the education piece as well. Where this gets really interesting is the soap making, your volunteering, and your dream to live on a ranch. Very similar to our objective statement, you want to make sure that this one is short, sweet, and to the point. So I usually recommend 3 bullet points or 3 sentences. Bullet points, anything that can attract the eye is going to be really good to create that emotional connection or the create that curiosity to want to know more. So don't tell the whole story. So if I were looking at this, my dream is to live on a ranch. I would say my dream is to create a ranch experience with outdoor recreation and a flying runway for clients and guests. Something along those lines. Really, even if you can even make it shorter, that where when you read it, you're like, wait, what? And it starts to, you leave enough out that they want to hear the rest of that story. And then you'll have, a 30-second verbal explanation. It gives them just enough to substantiate your claim that you put some thought into this and ask more questions. And a question might be, really? Have you ever been to a place like that? And you can say, oh yeah, my husband and I have actually traveled around Montana and we've looked at a couple. We're currently looking at 250 acres, wherever that place was. Even if it's not within the realm, someone who's taking action on their dream is actually very attractive to an employer. And it actually demonstrates the lean in attitude that most employers are looking for. So make sure that you not only have a dream, but you've at least done some research and you've taken steps toward that. And believe you me, this is super, super valuable because they will see that if you can do it for your own, if you'll do it for your own interests, you will do it for the things that you're being paid to do and taking that initiative to go that direction. Let me give you a quick story here. I've read, as you know, many resumes, and at the end of one, I read that they were a private pilot working on their multi-engine rating. Well, it just so happens that at the time I was a private pilot and I wasn't working on my multi-engine rating, but I was really curious to see someone else taking that next step into a more complex airplane. And their resume was pretty good. It may not have earned itself an interview, but that very thing that he was interested in definitely caught my eye, and we actually brought him in. And it turns out that his resume was nowhere near as impressive as he was in person. And we ended up hiring him, and he still works at the organization that we were in. And he's turned out to be one of the best, most capable engineers that we've hired. So, and that was because he put that in there. So a hook can be the difference between getting an interview and getting the job. So let me just summarize. If you put airplanes in there, just send it to me. I will definitely bite. It's like if I were a fisherman, those pretty colors dancing by is going to cause me to bite. So make sure that you, I understand that you're not going to be able to predict who's interested or what their interests are, but doing so creates enough curiosity that when they do ask about it, even if it's not related to their field, say it's bowling. I'm not terribly interested in bowling, but if I can tell someone's passionate about their dream, I will ask them about it as a measure to see how passionate they can get, because whatever passion they can create in the things that they love can also show up in work. And seeing that they have that creative power and energy for something is a huge plus to an employer, just to see that demonstrated.
So I've never actually heard or been told to include dreams on a resume. And why would that be important?
That's a great question. And this is one of the reasons why your resume will stand out. And the concept here is a lot of the population of the earth doesn't feel like that they can dream. And so if a dreamer who doesn't dream sees a dreamer who does dream, that's going to be attractive. And so putting that dream on there reflects the fact that you are awake, you are alert, you're alive, and you are have a desire to create something that doesn't exist yet. And that mere fact is a differentiator among so many who've been trained to just do a job. And it makes them attractive because they're real people. And that's what people are looking for in employees, is people who can relate, people who can get excited, people who are still in the mindset of building instead of just doing. We're talking about human beings, not just human doings. I'd rather hire a human being than a human doing anytime. Let's see. Okay, that's it for the hook. Try it out and go fishing. We'll see you on the next one.